setting realistic goals or setting goals which you may not even meet. So the reason for the question is that I've heard multiple people talking about it from with different opinions. One of them being, I think it's Les Brown, who said, "Shoot for the moon, and you might end up among the stars." I think is the
Yes,
phrase.
that's I have that quote in my book.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
It's a good one. And then the other one is obviously SMART goals, so they
Hmm.
should be realistic. Have you got any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think that if you really want something, that there's nothing wrong with setting that as a goal. If I, wanted to be the president of the country and I set that as a goal, that's great. I mean, it's probably not very realistic, but if I really want it, then the journey is probably going to be worth it. And, I love that quote by Les Brown about, shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon because you will end up among the stars. It's true. A lot of times we may start off with a certain goal, but along the way we find something else that is equally or even more interesting that we never would have known about had we not started the journey towards that goal. And, we can change our mind about what our goals are at any time. To me, it's really about, getting in touch with what you really want, what's going to make you happy, and going for that, and realizing if you decide at a different time that you want to change your destination, that's fine. As far as the SMART goals are concerned, um, I think with goal setting, it's all about sort of like nesting goals, if you will, right? I mean, if you've got like a big giant project or a goal, there's going to be a lot of small goals that stack up to reach that goal, right? And and that's okay. I think that I suppose going back to your question earlier about what are some of the mistakes that people make in goal setting, sometimes I think it's in not breaking down their big goals into small enough goals and then getting overwhelmed before they even start. And, one of the things that I will challenge people to do is that when they're starting towards, taking that first action towards their goal, say like, what is the smallest thing that you can do that's going to support, you getting towards that goal? What's the smallest thing you can do without failing? And it could be that I'm just going to Google something. It could be that I'm going to write this commitment down on a piece of paper. It could be I'm going to call somebody that knows something about them and ask them about what my next step should be. But, sometimes when people have, really big goals, that they just get overwhelmed before they ever start because they think that they've got to, take a giant, you know, dive off a craggy cliff instead of just, you know, dipping a toe in the water.
Mm. I did some productivity content, and I use that principle as well. I think Tony Robbins calls it chunking.
Hmm.
So just break down your biggest stuff into as smaller steps as possible, because lots of little steps in the right direction reach your destination.
Yeah,
So
and
really
I
like
think
that.
that, yeah, definitely. And also from a, continuing momentum or motivation standpoint, to be able to sort of look back and say, oh, well, look how many steps I've already achieved towards the goal. Because it is very easy sometimes that, say, if you're like climbing a mountain and you're looking at the top, even if you've made a lot of progress, the top of the mountain still looks really far away. But if you look behind you and you see how far you've come, you realize, like, I'm making progress.